Hello friends, today we'll be going through Information Security Audit Checklist. Information Security Audit is compulsorily done by ISO 27001 certified companies. So let's move on with the checklist. Okay, here are some basic stages and workflow of the IS audit. So who does what is explained in this thin chart. System owner, he requests the accreditation. The accreditation authority requests the certification of the company. The certification authority requests the audit. The assessor conducts the first stage audit, and then the implementation of the controls are done. Once the implementation of controls is finished, the assessor does the second stage audit. Then the certification authority assesses the audit report and the residual risks. The residual risks are the risks which are still there or they still persist or exist even after the audit is done or the controls are implemented. The certification authority also awards the certification to the company. The accreditation authority assesses the certification report, it assesses the residual risk and also other factors, and then awards the accreditation to the company, and system owner then operates the system. So the table of contents for IS audit checklist. Here are some topics on which the checklist will be made. The list of documents for understanding the information system of the auditee, the criticality assessment tool, the collection of specific information on information system, the risk assessment, general controls, input controls, processing controls, output controls, and IT security. Documents for understanding the information system. Here are some list of documents that you need to go through for understanding the IS. Brief background of the organization is needed, the information security objectives, the scope document of the information system, the organizational chart with details of reporting responsibilities, the information security policy, the risk assessment process, statement of applicability made by the system owner and the company, risk treatment plan and process, risk assessment and risk treatment results, the evidences of monitoring and measurement results, the evidence of implementation of audit program, the evidence of results of management reviews, previous audit and internal audit reports, as well as the evidence of results of any corrective action. These are the documents you need to go through before conducting an audit, and these are the list of documents that the company has to show you once the auditor comes for the audit. The criticality assessment tool. What do you check in criticality assessment tool? The checklist contains: does the system relate to any of the following operations like business critical operations or support functions? What is the amount of investment made in the system? The number of PCs or desktops used in the system? Is the system on the network? How much dependent is the organization on the system? Does the system link to third parties? Does the system have dedicated IT staff? How many end users of the system? For how long has the system been in operation for? Does the system have a documented and approved disaster recovery plan? What is the volume of data used by the collection of specific information on information system? The information that needs to be collected is name of the system and broad functional areas covered by the system, department head of the organization, location of the system installation, category of the system architecture, affects financial or accounting aspects of the organization. Does the system in any way affect the financial or the accounting aspect? Softwares which are used by the system. Is the system mission critical? Is the system in-house or has it been outsourced? If so, then collect information of that company to whom the system is outsourced. Again, total persons involved in the system. Does the system documentation provide audit trail, that is logs of all the transactions? Are the system manuals available? Details of hardware items employed by the system. What is the projected cost of the system? When was the system made operational? Total investment made in the system based on categories of item used. Risk assessment. The checklist is now prepared for risk assessment. Risk assessment is basically classified into four categories: management or organization, HR policy, security, physical and logical access, risk assessment, management and organization checklist. The questions asked are: is there a strategic IT plan prepared by the organization based on business needs? Does the IS department have clear cut and well defined goals? Does management provide appropriate direction on security objectives of the system? If the system uses third party data, does the organization have procedures in place to address the associated risks? Are there procedures to update strategic IT plan? The risk assessment HR policy. Questions asked: is there a criteria for recruiting and selecting the personnel? Is training need analysis done at a particular interval? Is organization security clearance process adequate? Are responsibilities and duties clearly defined? Is backup staff available in case of absenteeism? Risk assessment security. Questions asked: is there a data classification schema in place? Is there a user security profile system in place to determine access on a need to know basis? Is there a password policy? Are preventive and detective control measures being established by the management? Is there a centralized security organization responsible for ensuring only appropriate access to system resources? Risk assessment, physical and logical access. The questions asked are: whether facility access is limited to least number of people? Is there a periodic and ongoing review of access profiles including managerial review? Whether physical security is addressed in the continuity plan? Whether health, safety and environmental regulations are being complied with? Is there a system of reviewing fire, weather, electrical warning and alarm procedures and expected response scenarios for various levels of environmental hazards? General controls to check whether proper controls have been implemented or not. These controls need to be viewed in relation to the impact on the efficiency, security, or effectiveness of the system. Questions asked: are there procedures for monitoring the implementation of strategic plan? Are current IT activities consistent with the plan? Is documentation complete and in current state? Does security procedures cover designation and duties of security officer? Are security breaches immediately reported for appropriate action? Are objective, scope, and requirements of acquisition clearly defined and documented? The input controls. Questions asked: are the methods of data entry and conversion well documented? Are all the documents accounted for? And if so, what is the method used for the accounting? Is there a system of documents being signed on or marked to prevent the use of data? Is there a system of escalation of reports to higher levels if the condition deteriorates? Does the system provide for error messages for every type of error not meeting the validation? Processing controls. The questions asked: do documented procedures exist explaining the methods for proper processing of application program? Is the history log displayed by the console? Does the computer program logic have inbuilt standardized default options? Are version control procedures in place ensuring the processing on the proper version of file? Are the error messages clear and short, communicating the nature of error for appropriate guidance to the user? Output controls. Questions asked: is the user department responsible for the correctness of all output? Examining whether document methods are in place for proper handling and distribution of output. Examining the system of forward linkage to trace the transaction from its origin to its final output stage. Whether output audit trail logs are maintained and periodically reviewed by supervisors to ensure accuracy of output generated. IT security. Sections that are considered are the security policy, the organizational security, asset classification and control, personal security, physical and environmental security, communications and operations management, access control, system development and maintenance, business continuity management, compliance. Hope to see you soon.